Chancellor of Adams University. Good afternoon to respected Dr. Naveen Das, Pro Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, to Professor Dr. Jitendra Kumar Pandey. He is the Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and Development Affairs, as well as Professor Ujjwal Kumar Chaudhary, Media and Communication Affairs. I would also like to thank the organizing team as well as the research and development team, Professor Dr. Moumita Mukherjee, and in this workshop. And on behalf of the Center for Education, Research and Development at Adams University, today is the last day and the first session. And of course, before commencement of the session, let me tell you a brief introduction of Adams University. Adams University is ranked as a #1 university in Eastern India, and it is located on the Barasat-Barakpur road in Barasat, West Bengal, India. One of the bestest private university. It is comprised of 9 different schools of study, as well as a school of professional studies to prepare students for various competitive examinations by improving their skills. Adams University is recognized by the University Grants Commission, offering several undergraduate, postgraduate, and doctoral degree courses in education, engineering, and technology, science, pharmacy, humanities, law, media, and communication and management studies. Along with this, from the last year onwards, there was a development, a strong development, and our university is actually 5+ years and growing very rapidly. We have formed a research and development team, and research and development team headed by Professor Dr. Jitendra Kumar Pandey and Professor Dr. Moumita Mukherjee. And along with the help and support of our Honorable Chancellor Sir and Vice Chancellor Sir, has come up with research centers, which is dedicated only for the research and research related work. So we will be doing a lot of collaborations, a lot of webinars, a lot of workshops, a lot of seminars. So we will be also expecting the participants to be more active, and we will be having on a month-to-month basis. Along with that, we will be having projects and webinars and all the other research related activities which the 5 centers will be doing. And along with that, this Center for Education, Research and Development is having their inaugural program, which is this from the 9th to 15th of June 2021. And we will be also having the next programs in the coming months, which we will be informing to you very soon. We will be having also your email address and all the other details, so that we will be able to communicate with you in the long run. So with that, we come to our session speaker for today, who is Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Misra. This workshop is actually in collaboration with University Uttara Malaysia, and one of the most active roles which Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Misra, our speaker, has played in this. He is the honorary Secretary of Forum for Interdisciplinary Research Method, and they are also our collaborators in this workshop, and as well as the IIC cell of Adams University. So we are really thankful to Dr. Misra for taking out the time and giving us, throwing a light on the context of recent research as well as development. So to take the session further, I will further introduce Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Misra. He is a well-known academician and researcher. He has 20 years of versatile experience of teaching, research, and administration in India and abroad. At present, he is Vice President and Professor, Department of Economics and Statistics at British American University, Florida. He is also Secretary, Forum for Interdisciplinary Research Methods, which I have already mentioned to you. He is a Master's in Economics, MSc in Statistics, PhD in Economics from Magad University, Bodh Gaya. He has also been awarded Honorary Doctorate in Higher Education from Nigeria, Honorary Doctorate in Social Work from Philippines, Honorary DSc in Economics and Multidisciplinary Research from Florida, Honorary DLit in Econometrics from USA, and Honorary DSc in Management from United Kingdom. He is a gold medalist and champion in academic and research world. He specializes in econometrics, research methods, data analytics, and applied statistics. He has supervised 8 research scholars and currently guiding 6 research scholars in the PhD level. He has developed blended video lectures in Advanced Research Methods 1 and 2, and also developed course material of development economics for master level courses at Ethiopian Civil Service University, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He has published about 150 research papers and articles in national and international journals. He has also authored 3 books for PG level on his credit. He has presented more than 150 research papers in national and international seminars, webinars, conferences of academicians and researchers. Professor Mishra has also chaired, co-chaired, delivered more than 100 invited lectures as keynote speaker, guest speaker, and eminent speaker in national and international conferences, seminars, workshops, as well as webinars. He is a member of editorial board and reviewer of more than a dozen of journals. Actually, his introduction is endless. It goes on and on and on. So we don't have enough time for that also. And sir also wants to say through his work only. So in this context, we would take this session further to Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Mishra. Welcome, sir, in this August gathering. We are very much thankful to you for your deliberation as well as speech. And this is the first session. You are the sole speaker. So the e-podium is yours, sir. And of course, we will be recording the meeting with your permission. I hope we have the permission. Okay. So with that,
recording in progress.
We will be handing it over to Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Mishra. Over to you, sir. Sir, please unmute yourself. You are on mute, sir. Please unmute.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, 1 minute.
Actually, eye infection, so that is why he is not well, but still he has managed to come. We are so thankful to you, sir. Sir, you can continue.
Thank you. Honorable Chancellor, Arts University, West Bengal, Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dean Research and Developments, convener of this 1 week international workshop on the interdisciplinary applications and innovation in research methodology, Dr. Prada Biswas, and all the dignitaries from India and abroad participating in 1 week international conference. First of all, I greet the Center for Education, Research and Development, Admas University, West Bengal, for organizing a very pertinent and relevant international workshop on the very beneficial topics like interdisciplinary applications and innovation in research methodology in collaboration with University Utara, Malaysia and Forum for Interdisciplinary Research Methods. So first of all, I congratulate all the members of Adamas University for such type of wonderful international workshop. So today in this my international, today I will deliver my lecture on developing quality dissertation or quality thesis. What issue I will discuss? The issue will be selection of topic of thesis. What is thesis, dissertation and project? Components of thesis, layout and organization of thesis, number of pages of thesis and dissertation, uh, thesis evaluation, report and awarding. All those things I will discuss in today my lectures. So now the important things is that how to select the topic of thesis, the topic of dissertation. The topic of dissertation is very important. Generally we see that at the UG level we called the project, at the PG level or MPhil level we called this dissertation, and at the PhD level we called this thesis. So revision, so what topic should be of the thesis? The topic of thesis should be well defined and specific. It should be related to the area of interest, because when you appear in the interview for the assistant professor or any places you go for the interview, they will ask the questions related to your thesis. Generally some questions are, why, what are the topic of your thesis, why you have chosen this topic, what is the significance of your study, what is your methodology, what is your hypothesis, what is your objective, what is your finding. So all such type of questions they raise during the interview or during the examination of your PhD thesis. So all those things are very important. So if your thesis topic is okay, they praised you. Otherwise, they will criticize you in the interview also that your thesis topic is not relevant and not a specific. Such type of questions also arises. One thing is also important that while choosing the thesis topic, we should focus on development of new ideas. Your topic should be related to the development of new theory or new ideas, or revision of old law, old concept or old theory, or application of uh, theory in the solution of the particular problems. There are three types of scopes for choosing the topic of the thesis. Even you can take the topic of the development of the new theory, or you can revise the old theory, or you can do the application of any theory with the respect of any problem, with the respect of any area. So these are the three scopes. You can develop the idea which has not been searched till now. You can develop the theory which has not been searched till now on the basis of your data, on the basis of empirical data, or on the basis of concept also. Or the previous, generally we see that what is the previous research or previous theory, there is need to revision of the theory after 20 years, because society is dynamic. People, organization, country, all are dynamic, and the socio-economic, cultural, traditional, all the behavior of the people changes, and therefore there is need to revise the old theory in the context of present time. Therefore, revision of old theory is required, revision of old concept is required, that is to the test of the old theory. And now by the now with the help of any theory, you are interested to study about the particular problem, you are interested to study about the solution of problem, that in this particular area this theory is applicable or not. So what theories has been given by the previous uh, previous researchers, that is applicable in this particular area or not, you try to do the application of this theory, and moreover you try to apply the theory for the solution of the particular problem in research. So these are also very important. So this is the topic of your thesis. In the case of Ethiopia, Benin, USA, and European countries, we have seen that at the last day, at the day of Viva, the topic of the thesis is revised. In the case of India, what the thesis of the topic is approved, you have not to change the topic of the thesis. But in the case of American countries, African countries, Ethiopian countries, even the last day, even your Viva of PhD, your thesis, the topic of your thesis is changed if there is some drawbacks in your thesis. So the topic of thesis is very important. Now, what is thesis? A thesis is an expanded essay that presents your own interpretation or evaluation or arguments. When you write a thesis, you use everything that you personally know and have thought about the subject. And generally, we can say that it is a long piece of writing on a particular topic. Dissertation or thesis is a long piece of writing on a particular topics. It is more than writing concerning to the research paper. So thesis is a long piece of writing. So as far as it is concerned to the type of thesis, your thesis may be the conceptual thesis, your thesis may be the empirical thesis, your thesis is based on the concept why, that is based on the why, and you explore the new things, that is the conceptual or philosophical thesis. While in your thesis, you work with the data, that is the empirical thesis. So you can develop the conceptual thesis or you can develop the empirical thesis. Both theses are important. But what should be the new in your thesis? Your idea may be the new, your methodology may be the new, your result may be the new, your methods of interpretation may be the new, your point of time may be the new, your period of study may be the new, your area of study may be the new, or your data may be the new. So anything should be the new. Okay, in writing your thesis, it is not confirmed that each and everything should be new. That is not possible. While developing the thesis, it is not possible to write each and everything new. But at least one or two things should be new. Okay, your topic is new, that is okay. Your idea is new, also okay. Your methodology, either your methodology is new, this is okay. Your result is new, your variables are new, your models are new, your data are new, your area of selection are new, and your methods of interpretation, even your research findings are new. If anything should be new in your thesis, that it will add some things in the research and academic world. That is very important, because in the interview the examiner generally asks what is new in your thesis, what is new in your thesis, that adding new knowledge to the research world. This question is very important. So you can tell that on this topic the work has been not done till now. On this variable the prior researcher have not worked. I have developed this model, you can say this. My methodology is this. On this time period, there have not been prior research. My interpretation is new. Okay, my area is new. My finding is new. Such type of there should be anything new in your thesis, and that is important. Always give your attention. Anything should be new in your thesis. I'm saying that all things, 100% material of your thesis cannot be new, but something should be new. That is very important, because in interview, in the PhD Viva, they will ask the question, what is new in your thesis? So this is important. So what are the components of thesis? Okay, what are the components of thesis? So first of all, the topic of the research thesis. I've already told that the topic of the research thesis should be specific, should be micro in nature, should it should be clear. The topic of the thesis should be clear. I will discuss again all those things. So guide, certificate, guide. Uh, After the thesis, there is the guide certificate. Okay, in this, the guide is certified that uh, your work is new, something new in your thesis, and you have worked with guide this much hours for this thesis, and your thesis is your original work. The guide give the certificate to you, and after the guide certificate, the scholar's declaration. A scholar declares that I have not taken any parts of this thesis from the other materials. If I have taken, I have given the citation, I have given the source of that material, and that is my own works. Okay, so this is the declaration of this declaration by the scholar. And after that, there is a preface and acknowledgement. In this, the thesis writer, the research scholar write something about the thesis, some very important things about the thesis, about the one paragraph, and also he or she acknowledge those persons or those organizations who have directly or indirectly helped in developing the thesis. Okay, so this is also very important. After that, there is abstract with keywords. The main components of the thesis are introduction, literature review. Main components are concerning to the chapters of thesis. Okay, in the PhD thesis, a good PhD thesis should have 5 to 7 chapters. A good MPhil thesis should have about 4 to 5 chapters, and a good UG project should have about 3 to 5 chapters. But it is not necessary that this chapter, this much number of chapter you have to, you should have. You can increase or decrease your chapters, but generally these are the optimum criteria of the chapters in the dissertation, thesis or project. And so first chapter, generally we should write the introduction. Second chapter, literature review. Chapter third, research methodology. Chapter 4, results and discussion. Chapter 5, conclusion and suggestion. And after that, you can give the, you should have to give the bibliography references like this. And after that, you will give the appendices. Appendices is the complementary of the main part of research. So the main part of research is introduction, literature review, research methodology, results and discussion, conclusion and suggestion. And after that, you this is not the main part. Bibliography is not the main part, but you have to write. This is also important. Bibliography and appendix are also important in your thesis. So now, what is abstract? We have seen about the abstract. Before the main components of thesis, you have to write the abstracts and keywords. So what is the abstract? Abstract is the brief synopsis of thesis. Abstract is the brief of thesis, very brief of thesis, and generally the people read the abstract of the thesis. Generally the people, the reader, study the abstract of the thesis. If they find that abstract is okay, if they find that abstract is okay, then they read the whole thesis. Uh, Abstract should be very interesting, otherwise they will not take interest to read your full thesis. So abstract should be very important. Abstract is very important. It is the brief synopsis of thesis. Okay, the abstract is used by readers to quickly review the overall content of the thesis. It is the overall contents of the thesis or dissertation. So it is very important. So now it is important what should we write in abstract, what and how we should write the abstract. So abstract has four components. Okay, four components of abstract. First of all, abstract should be started from the objective of the study. Abstract should be started from the objective of the study, not point by point. Don't write point by point. You write in the sentences. In the sentences, abstract should be written in sentences, in a paragraph. You can write in the thesis, you can write 4 paragraph or 5 paragraph in the abstract. Okay, so this is the important. So in the abstract, you should start the objective of the study. Component of abstracts are objective of the study, means objective of the thesis, methodology of the study, finding of the study, and policy implications. Only you should write 4 things in your abstract. Okay, so it should start from the objective of the study. What is the this study states, this study explained, like this. You have to write in past tense. Abstract, here in this abstract, you can use the past tense or you can also use the present tense, but you will not use the future tense. Abstract should not be written in future tense, because you can write the research proposal in future tense, because this is the proposed work, but thesis is already completed, and after completed you are and after completed the thesis and after completed so after completing the thesis, you are writing the abstract. So writing the objective of the study, you have to use the past tense, either past tense or either the present tense. This thesis or this study explains. This thesis explained, like this you have to study. Or the objective of this topic uh, stated, like this language you have to use. Okay, so objective of the study you write, then you write the methodology of the study, what methods you have applied, what is your time period of the study, what methods, what tools, what techniques, what variables you have chosen in your thesis. You have to explain this in the methodology. That is very important. Methodology is very important. And after methodology of the study, you will write about the finding, that this is the finding of this thesis, this is the finding. So you have to discuss the finding of this thesis, and after that you will study the policy implications, how these policy implications, that means how this thesis, how this study is useful for the policy maker, how it is useful for academicians, how it is useful for researchers, how it is useful for the government or any concerning body. This is the policy implications that is concerning to the benefit of the thesis. Okay, because thesis is not your own property. Thesis is not for the individual welfare. Thesis is for the welfare of society. Any research is not for your individual study. Any research is for the welfare of society. So uh, so you have to in you have to explain in the policy implications how your study is beneficial for the society, for the nation, for the country, for the global society, and for the academician, for the research world, and for the government also. You have to explain all those things in your abstract. So just below the abstract, you have to write the keywords. Okay, so your keyword should be 6 to 10. That is the optimum. You can write the 10 keywords also. Keywords means the important technical words that is used in your thesis. That is the pivotal word of your thesis is the keyword. So keyword should be taken very seriously and very important. That is very important concerning to your thesis. In the project, you can write the keywords 3 to 5 word. In the dissertation, you can write the keywords uh, 5 to 8, 5 to 7. In the thesis, you can write the keywords 6 to 10, but 6 to 8 are ideal. Okay, and then you write the etc. What should be the length of abstract? I'm focusing on the PhD thesis, PhD dissertation. I'm focusing. So what I'm telling that mostly about the PhD applicable applicable for PhD thesis. So abstract, a good abstract should be on ranges from 600 to 1000 words, or 8000 to 800 to 1000 word. That is okay. It should be in 2 pages. 2 pages. You can write 3 pages also. You can use the 8,000 to 12,000, but generally a good abstract should ranges from 8 to 1000 words. 800 to 1000 words, that is the optimum. Now after the this, abstract, the main part of the thesis starts. The main parts of the thesis, first chapter 1. So chapter 1 is the introduction. So introduction includes general idea about topic, okay, overview of the study, background of the study, a statement of problem, significance of the study, and limitations of the study. In this introduction chapters, you should also explain why this study is important for society, academic, and research world. You should explain in this chapter 1. Generally, the people write more pages in this introduction part. That is not good, and write the more thing in the introduction part. They increase the number of pages in the thesis, and this is not good. I will discuss each and everything in the last also. So while writing the chapter 1 introduction, first
दवाई
of
यहाँ पर
all,
लगा बजे वाली
you should write one, then introduction. Okay, in this one you should write the general idea about the topic, and then after that 1.1. When you are writing chapter 1, then 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.3 for the subtopic. While writing the second chapter, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and respectively in all chapters, you should have to do this. Okay, this is the very important. So I'm saying that while explaining, while writing the first chapters, you have to write in 1.1 overview of the study, 1 introduction, 1.1 overview of the study, 1.2 background of the study. Background is very important. Background is very important. So 1.2 is background. 1.3 is statement of the problem. A statement of the problem means what situation motivated you to work on this topic. This is the statement of the problem. What situation motivated you to study on this topic you have to explain in the statement of the problem. And after that, 1.4 significance of the study. 1.4 you have to write the significance of the study. Okay, 1.4 you have to write the significance of the study. Then 1.5 you will give the limitation of the study. 1.5 is the limitations of the study, that what things you are not including your thesis. What are your limitations? Okay, it is very clear. Overview of the study, background of the study, statement of the problem, significance of the study, why your study is important, why your study is beneficial for society. You have to explain this. Limitation of this of the study you have to write. Okay, so this is the chapter first. When you go to the chapter second, in this chapter second is concerning to the literature review. Okay, so the purpose of the literature review is to describe past important research, and it relates it specifically to the research problem. Okay, research problem means on what topic, what is the question of research. Research problem is concerning to the question of the research, that your research is going to give the solution of that problem. Okay, so this is the important. So in the literature review, the review should examine the major theories related to the topic, to the date, and their contribution. There are three types of literature. Literature means the past knowledge, the knowledge about this topic. Because if you do not gather, if you do not collect the knowledge about this topic, how can you do the research? How can you know the research gap? So it is very important to gather the knowledge, to collect the knowledge about this topic, and you have to write this. So in this literature review, you have to write the conceptual literature, then theoretical literature, and then applied literature. Okay, literature on concept. You have also to write literature on concept, literature on methodology, and literature on the results. Results means finding. This person in this year examined this and found this. Like this, you will write. This person this year applied this methodology, applied these tools, applied these variables to study this type of topic in the context of this area. Okay, so there are three types of literature: conceptual literature, theoretical literature, and applied literature. In the literature review, you will also discuss about the literature on concept, literature on methodology, and literature on results. These three things are very important. So literature review is concerning to the previous works related to the topic at the world level, at the country level, at the region level. What works have been done by the previous researchers on this topic or concerning this topic at the world level, at the country level, at the state level, at the region level. These all those things you have to write in the literature review. So how many number of literature review? The number of literature should be about 50 to 60, optimum for thesis. It depends on the size of thesis. Okay, if your size is big, you can do the more literature. But I will also discuss about the optimum size of thesis in today my lectures. So 50 to 60 literature is okay. So while doing the literature review, you should focus on the recent literature. Recent literature. You should focus on the literature of recent 10 years. Recent 10 year or 15 years, maximum 20 years. Recent 20 years, you should focus more. You should focus more, because after 20 years, the nature of society changes. After 20 years, the behavior of the people generally changes, and new generation also comes. Okay, so this is the importance. And in this literature review, you have to find the research gap. In this literature review, you have to find the research gap. So in this literature review part, writing the second chapter of the thesis, you have to write one paragraph starting. That is the introduction part of this. Okay. After that, you can write, this is the chapter number 2. So you can write 2.1 conceptual literature, 2.2 theoretical literature, 2.3 applied literature. While writing the applied literature, you should focus on the world level research, then country level research, then state level research, and then region level research. You should write this systematically. You should not try to mix country level research and world level research. You are mixing. You should not do this. Okay, you should write systematically and logically in scientific way. That is the important. So 2.1 conceptual literature, 2.2 theoretical literature, 2.3 applied literature, and 2.4 research gap. Research gap means till now many researchers, prior researchers, have worked on this topic or concerning to this topic, but this study has not been conducted till now in the case of particular area, in the case of particular time period. So this study is going to complete. This study is going to fill this gap. This is the big gap. But in the thesis, you have to write and not prior research on this, and this study fills, or this study has filled, not will fill. Will means that is the language of research proposal. It will be past tense or present tense. This is the okay, because you have already done the work, and after completing the work, you are writing the thesis. So your language should be either past tense or present tense. You have to focus here. So this is the important. Okay. So now, yes. So 2.4 is literature gap. Literature gap should be very strong. I have already told. And 2.5, in the 2.5, you can write the research questions. Research questions. 2.6, 2.6 objective of the study, and 2.7 research hypothesis. Complete. Chapter 2 is complete. So in the research questions means the research is going to give this in the thesis. The research has given the answer of these questions. The question should not be more. You should have to write only 3 or 4 questions, not more questions. Max 3 questions is enough. 2 to 3 questions. 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions. Don't include more questions in your thesis. If you will include more questions, your thesis will be big. That will be macro level. Okay, and you will not do justify with your topics. Okay, so try to include 2 questions, 3 questions, or maximum 4 questions. Okay, so this is the important. This is the important. Okay, so this is also the importance. So what should be the objective of the study? Objective of the study should be well-defined objective. Well-defined. Concentration on topic. Objective should be related to the topics. I have evaluated many theses and I have seen that objective is different, thesis topic is different, research question is different. Not good. This is not good. The objective of the study should be well defined, concentrated on the topics of the study. Do not include more objectives. 3 objectives, fine, okay. But generally, I have seen that the students include 12 objective, 10 objective, 13 objective like this. They write the general objective, a specific objective. Why? You have written general objective. You can generalize. You can write this in the general. But why you are writing this is the general objective? Write only a specific objective. You should write, okay, but not more. 10 a specific objective. Why? 12 a specific objective. Why? You should write only 2 or 3 a specific objective. That is enough. That is optimum. Okay, and your objective should be based on research gap. Your objective should fill the research gap. Your objective should concerning to the research questions. This is the importance. Okay, now after that, in this part, in the literature, we will also discuss the hypothesis also. Hypothesis is the tentative answer of research question. Hypothesis is the tentative answer of research questions, and there are two types of hypothesis: research hypothesis and statistical hypothesis. Research hypothesis is the hypothesis concerning to the conceptual research. If you are writing the conceptual research, you can use the research hypothesis. You can use the research hypothesis in conceptual research. This is okay. But concept research hypothesis cannot be proved with data. When you use the data, when you prove the hypothesis with the data, that is called the statistical hypothesis. A statistical hypothesis is the empirical hypothesis. Okay, research hypothesis is the philosophical hypothesis. Okay, so when you prove the data, when you prove your research with the help of statistics, with the help of data, that is called the statistical hypothesis. So you can apply both type of hypothesis. Without hypothesis, you can also write the thesis. But if you are not using the data, you can give the research hypothesis. That is very simple. You can use the research hypothesis. There is no need of empirical analysis of research hypothesis. Okay, so in this hypothesis, we will make the hypothesis null and alternate hypothesis. Already you know that the null hypothesis means the hypothesis wishes to be tested is the null hypothesis, and alternate hypothesis means if the null hypothesis is not okay, if the null hypothesis is not accepted, then what will be? That is the alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis is denoted by HO or H0. Alternate hypothesis is denoted by HA or H1. So you can make the one tail test, two tail test. Already you know these things. I have to discuss about this thesis. So after that, while giving the null and alternate hypothesis, you have to discuss about the test of, you have to give the level of significance, level of significance and the hypothesis testing methodology. You will also discuss in the research methodology chapter. So here you will give only the hypothesis. Like null hypothesis, there is no significant impact of price on the quantity demanded, like this. Alternate hypothesis is there is significant impact of price on the quantity demand. Hello. There is significant impact of independent variable on the dependent variable, or different types of hypothesis we formulate. You already know that there is no significant difference between the mean marks of first class and second class, of class first and class second. Okay, there is no significant difference between the mean marks of class first, class second, and class third, like this. There the model is stationary. The model is stationary, like this. You can make the different types of hypothesis concerning to your topics. Okay, so while giving the hypothesis, your level of significance is required. Level of significance means maximum possibility, level of significance is denoted by alpha. It is the maximum possibility of the rejection of null hypothesis. What is level of significance? Level of significance means it is the maximum possibility of the rejection of null hypothesis, and generally in the social science we should have the 5% level of significance. We can have 1% level of significance, 10% level of significance, but when level of significance is low, the sample size should increase. Okay, the level of significance, suppose 5% means 99% you are confident that your null hypothesis is accepted. Only 5% you are clear that your null hypothesis will be. So why you should have to give the ideal hypothesis, develop the ideal hypothesis and ideal level of significance according to the situations, that is very important. So now chapter third. Chapter third is the research methodology. In the research methodology, we discuss how you did the study, how you have did the study, all those things we discuss in the research methodology. Okay, this is the discussion of the research methodology, how you have done this study. In research methodology, you have to write the research design. Research design is the blueprint of research, and you can develop the exploratory research that gives the answer of why. Why? You can develop the descriptive research design. It can give the answer of what. In the descriptive research design, you can apply the measures of central tendency, dispersion, and skewness and kurtosis. You can describe the data with the help of research software, and you normalize this. You normalize. You give the you generalize the generalize the idea about the population on the basis of sample. Okay, so you can use the exploratory research, descriptive research, or causal research, or you can also use any two of method or any three all methods. You can also use the mixed method. You can also use the quantitative research, qualitative research, and it is better to use the mixed method research, quantitative as well as qualitative. That is very, very important in your study, because in the case of why in the case of exploratory, the qualitative is important. Why? In the case of why, qualitative research is important, but in the case of what, in the case of descriptive and causal, quantitative research is important. Okay, so in the case of uh, exploratory research design, it is better to use the qualitative research design. In the case of descriptive and causal research design, it is better to use the uh, quantitative research design. But in your study, you should apply the mixed research methods all, because in the thesis, generally exploratory, descriptive, and causal, all research are given. So this is the importance. So in the case of physical science or natural science, that is based on the methods and material. These are the based on methods and material. So this is the laboratory works, but it is in the case of social science, business, management, commerce, economics, sociology, psychology, education, yoga, health, like this health, you can, it is better to apply the mixed research methods. So it is important. So research area, you have to discuss about the research area. You have taken specified the research area, that your research is concerning to the Kolkata city, Kolkata metropolitan area. So you have to discuss about the area. You have to discuss about research area descriptions, means description about the population. What is the population? Population means the study which the area which is under the investigation. Population means universe. Population means the area which is under the investigation is called the population. So you have to discuss your research area, you have to discuss your population. And then sample means a small part of a small portion of population which is drawn from the population is called the sample. The sample should be representative, and on the basis of a study of sample, on the basis of the statistic of sample, we give the knowledge about the population parameter. We give the idea about the population. We do the study about the population. We do the study of the population. We do the study of the study area on the basis of the sample drawn from it, and that is known as sampling. Sampling is the process of drawing the sample from the population and study the sample, and on the basis of sample we take the decision we know about the population. Okay, so sample size, population size, sample mean, population mean, sample standard deviation, population standard deviation, sample variance, population variance, sample correlation, population correlation, sample regression function, population regression function, all those things, these are the important. But you have to give the, there are many formula to determine the sample size. The sample size should be optimum. That depends on the level of sigma. Sigma. If we increase the value, if we increase the sigma, if we increase the sigma means level of significance, there is less sample is required. But if we decrease the level of significance, there is more sample is required. But if we use the more sample, the cost and time of the study increases. So while taking the sample size, you have to give attention on the time period of a study, on the time and cost and others material of the study. This is also the important while choosing the sample size. So, but you should, in spite of this, in this part, you have to discuss about the data collection, primary data, secondary data, quantitative data, qualitative data, because the data is the raw material of research, and you will do the, and how you will do the reliability of data, validity of data, valid data, you have to take in the authentic source of data. This is also very important, and your time period of the study is very important. You should have to give the justification. Anything methodology you are using, you have to give the justification. Time period, you are using the cross section data, final data. Okay, you are using the cross section data, final data, time series data, but you have to give the justification. You are using the quantitative data, qualitative data, the methods of data collection, methods of primary data collection, like questionnaire, interview, schedule, direct observation, focused group discussion. You are using the secondary data from the other sources, second-hand data, like the books, journal, internet, library. Okay, from the dissertation of prior researchers, from the from publication, newspaper, anything you can take the data, but you have to explain in this part, and you have to give the justification. Justification is very, very important. Justification is very, very important. Always write the justification. Okay, and time series data, cross section data, final data, you can use this. You already know that the time series data means at a given time and this time data. For the example, population of India in the different years, you are giving the data. This is the time series data. Okay, and second one is the cross section data is used through questionnaire at the same time period. At just you go to the field, you give the questionnaire to the people, they fill the question. This is the cross section data. Cross section data. And final data means The final data is concerning to the combination of time series data and cross section data. The time is given, different time period is given, and the consumption and income of India, consumption one column, consumption and saving, income and consumption of India. Then second column, income and consumption of China, income and consumption of USA. There should be the final. So this is the, while doing the study in the time series data, generally you can take the 20-year data is used, but you can also work on the 10-year data of the time series and cross section data at the same time period, no problem here. While in the final data, generally we should use the 10-year data is good in the final data. In the time series data, 20-year data is good. But in the time series data, we can also do a study of the 10 years. In the final data, we can also study on the 5 years also. But you have to give the justification, because you should use the data of 10 years, but you are not able to get the data of 10 years. You are getting the data of 5 years. Then you will do the research, yes, but you have to give the justification. Justification is very important. Statistical tools, what are the variables, what are the statistical tools you are using in your study, and what are the methods of data analysis you are using in your study. You are using the statistical tools, mathematical tools, operational research tools. You have to discuss, because you have to use the descriptive tools, uh, predict predictive tools, optimization tools. You can also use this. So you have to explain in this part, and you have also to write the what research software you are using here. You can use the Astata, eViews, Gradle. Okay, Excel also important, R is important, Python is important. Okay, SPSS is important. Very popular is the SPSS and the Stata this time. So you can use this model formulation. You will formulate the model. Model formulation is important, and description of the variable of the model. Your model can be the linear model, null linear model, log linear, alpha, beta, gamma, binary, logistic, probit, tobit, multipolarity means two or more independent variable are related to each other. Heteroascadicity, your the data is stationary or not, you have to discuss this. Model stability, model selection, justification of the model, and limitations of the study, that is very, very important. So in this part, all those things are very, very important. So while writing the chapter third, you have to write introduction first, 3 introduction, then 3.1 research design, then 3.2 research area, 3.3 sampling and sample size, 3.4 data collection and time period, 3.5 statistical tools, data analysis, 3.6 model selection. Like this you have to study. So you have to write 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 like this. But this is the very important parts of your study. And after that, you go to the fourth chapter, chapter number 4. In chapter number 4, you will discuss that is concerning to the results and discussion. So in the chapter number 4, you will write the 4.1, 4.1 results, 4.1 results. So in the results, you will give your table, diagram, model formulation, that are the results. So while and 4.2 is the discussion. What is discussion? Discussion means that is related to the interpretation of result. Okay, discussion is the interpretation of result. So in chapter number 4, there will be 4.1. 4.1 is the result. The results you will put in the form of table, diagram. Okay, and and also 4.1 and 4.2 discussion. discussion. You can give the discussion, and it is not necessary to give 4.1 4.1 for results and 4.2 for discussion. It is not essential. So in this results means you put the table, diagram and models. Okay, and discussion means interpretation of the result. So you put the diagram, and just below the diagram you write the interpretation. You put the figure, and just below the figure you write the interpretation of the figure, like this. So discussion about the different values of the result and understanding the data. Discussion is related to the understanding the data. From data, we derive the information. From information, we derive the knowledge. From knowledge, we derive the wisdom. And from wisdom, we tend to the decision. So in this part, this is a very important part. So acceptance and rejection of the hypothesis. So this part is also concerning to the acceptance and rejection of the null hypothesis, like this. While giving the table number, table, diagram, figure, and models, you have to write the table number. What you write table number? 4.1. Table number 4.1. Table 4.2. Table 4.3. Table 4.5, like this. Figure 4.1. Figure 4.2. Figure means diagram. Figure 4.1, 4.2. Diagram you can also write. Figure if you are also writing this also okay. And model number, you are making the model, you are making the using the equation, then you can write equation 4.1, equation number 4.1, equation number 4.2. It is very important. Suppose that you are using the diagram in chapter number 2, you write the diagram number 2.1. But if you are using the diagram in chapter 4, it will start from 4, then point, then 1, 2, 3, like this. So any chapter you are using the diagram, equation or figure, first of all give the number of chapter, then point, and then this number. This is the important. Okay, suppose that you are using the diagram in first chapter, then diagram number 1.1, diagram number 1.2, diagram number 1.3. In the second, like this. In the third, like this. In the fourth, like this. Okay, so this is the important. So the hypothesis should be answered and validated by the interpretation of the study. Okay, already your results come, you are interpreting the results, and you are seeing that the hypothesis is being accepted or being rejected. This is the important, and it should be written systematic, and there should be the scientific organization according to the objective of study. It should be organized very systematically and very scientific according to the objective of the study. This is very, very important. So this part is very, very important. The result and discussion is very important. Generally, the examiner read this more and more times. Okay. Then chapter 5 is conclusion and suggestion. Sometimes you can write the concluding remarks, conclusions, also conclusion, but you can give the name conclusions and suggestions. So 5.1, this is the chapter 5. 5.1, you can write the 5.1 conclusion. Then write the conclusion. 5.2 suggestion. 5.2 suggestion. And 5.3 policy implications. 5.3 policy implications, and 5.4 scope for future research. Only 4 things you have to include. A scope of the study, you can include in chapter first also, but that is also related to the significance of the study. Okay, and significance of a study and limitation of a study I've already told you also. So here, this is the future scope for research. This is different from the scope of research. This is the future scope of research. So now 5.1 conclusion, you will write the conclusion. Conclusion write in 6 to 8 pages, enough. maximum 10 page, 10 page conclusion. Okay, 10 page conclusion, 4 page suggestion, 10 for 14 page, 1 or 2 page policy implication. So 14 or by paragraph you can also give the suggestion, not problem. Okay, but conclusion you should not have to give any number. Calculation should be given in paragraph, by paragraph, para by para you have to give. Suggestion you can give in paragraph also, or you can give point by point also, no problem. Policy implications, that is concerning to the policy implications for government also, for the researchers, for the concerning for research world, for academic world, for the government, for the policy makers. So you can write this, you should write this in paragraph. Policy implication you can write 1 paragraph or 2 paragraph, that is okay, 2 paragraph is enough. Okay, so after that, a scope for future research, that is concerning to the limitation of research also, and there is gap in your research. So a scope for future research means what works you have not done due to limitation and due to constraints, maybe the time constant, research constant, time constraints, uh, money constraints, maybe the data constants, maybe the knowledge constants. So you are giving, you are saying to the future researchers that they will study on this. You are giving the research gap of your study due to constants. So the future researchers, you are giving the guideline to the future researchers that they can study on this topic in the future, and that is also very important. So this is the conclusion and suggestion part of this. So in this chapter number 5, you write the 5.1 conclusion, 5.2 suggestion, 5.3 policy implication, and 5.4 scope for future research, that is important. And after that, you will write the bibliography or references. Why this is important? Because the research paper, the research thesis is not complete without the list of references. This section should be an alphabetical list. Common format include APA, MLA, Harvard, and according to the university guidelines, you have to write this. Okay, why we write this? Because it tells about the sources of material, authenticity of review. Your material is authentic or not. If the examiner will think that your material is not authentic, it can match your literature to that source. So it is important. So minimum 60 from journals, books, newspaper, internet. Also you should give the 60. Sample is given here. So it tells about the authenticity of your material, authenticity of your source of materials, and if a examiner will have any suspense, they can go there and they can check this. This is the important. After that, appendices. Appendices is the complementary to the main body. That is the complementary to the main body. If that big tables and there are many diagrams which you cannot put in the main part of your study, you can put here. You can questionnaire you can share here, diagrams share here, big table share here. So all those things you can share here. This is also important. So okay. So these are the important appendices. And after appendices, plagiarism is also very important, and number of pages in research. How much should be the size of research? Size of thesis. Plagiarism should be the 10%. 10% plagiarism in some universities, but most of the universities accepted up to 15% plagiarism. But your all the plagiarism should not be at the one place. Okay, it said should be scattered. 15% okay. 50% plagiarism is okay. Plagiarism means you have copied the work of other researchers. This is the plagiarism. But not at the one point, not at the one point. At the one point, not all should be. Okay, it should be scattered. Suppose that one page directly plagiarism. Suppose that this is 0.02% plagiarism and one page, one place, not acceptable. Not acceptable. Okay, it should be scattered. Suppose that your plagiarism level is 1% in your thesis. Okay, 1%. In your thesis, there is 1% plagiarism level. Suppose, but that is all plagiarism in only one page, full page plagiarism. Not okay. This is not okay. That should be scattered. One line, two line, one line, two line at different places should be, and maximum 15% is acceptable. Also, this is important. Language, your language should be standard. You will not, one time you write the thesis, you cannot change the language again and again. So your language should be standard. That should follow the international standard. Okay, so there should not be grammatical mistake. Grammatical mistake. You should try to. It is not possible to make the zero mistake, but you should try to minimize the errors. Okay, language should be standard. Own words, write in your own words. You should not use the big sentences, big size sentences, or very small sentences. Both are not good. You should use the medium size sentences, and you should use the use of technical words are very important. You should write your language. Your language should use the technical words. That is very important. Now, concerning to the number of pages, it is not necessary that you will write in this number of pages. Different universities have their own guidelines. So you have to write according to the guideline of university. But generally in the social science, PhD research work should be 150 to 200 words. New Thai Roman, or as per the guidance of university, font size 12 and gap between the two sentences should be 1.5. The gap between two sentences should be 1.5. Font size 12. Okay, or as per the guidelines of university, for in the social science, education, business management, commerce, art, humanities, the thesis size should be 150 to 200 pages. That is optimum for PhD. For the MPhil level, 90 to 150 pages. For PG level, 60 to 90 pages. For UG level, 40 to 60 pages. That is optimum, in my opinion. But it depends on the guide also. It depends on the university norms also. While in the case of natural science, physical science, or medical science thesis, you should in the PhD, that is 100 to 150 enough. MPhil 80 to 100 is enough. PG 50 to 20 is optimum, and UG 40 to 50, that is optimum in the case of natural science. While you can increase the or decrease the paper, while you can increase or decrease, so while writing the thesis, while developing the quality thesis, you should previously you should think that introduction generally should be written in, for PhD thesis. Introduction generally should be written chapter first. Introduction, it should be generally written in 30 pages. 5 page more or 5 page less, okay. About 30 pages. Chapter 1 introduction. Chapter 2 literature review, 55 pages. That is okay. 55 pages. Chapter 2. Chapter 3 research methodology, 5 to 8 pages. 5 to 8 pages. Chapter 4 results and discussion, 50 to 55 pages. Okay. And chapter I have already told results and discussion 50 to 55 page, and last chapter, chapter 5, conclusion and suggestion 15 page. 15 page, enough. 15 page. And after references you can give him 6 page. Okay, good. And then appendices you can give 8 page, maximum 8 or 10 page. That is okay. Some universities also told that in the appendices you have also to write the certificate of 2 presentation in national and international conference, and certificate of 2 publications. You have also to uh, add this. So it also depends on the norms of university also, but generally I have told that this. So after that, after completion of thesis, you will submit the thesis submission and evaluation, submission for evaluation. So evaluator and examiners report, when your thesis go to the examiners, the examiner uh, passes through your thesis. The examiners do the comments on the topic of thesis. In the case of India, they do not do the comments on the topic of thesis, but I have seen in the USA, Florida, or in the Ethiopia also, the thesis topic has been changed since the last day, Viva day. Viva day, they have changed the thesis. The student got awarded, but the topic of thesis has changed at the last day also. This is also important. So they will, the examiner of thesis, evaluator of thesis will comments on the topic of thesis, the relevancy of thesis, significance of the topic, objective of the thesis, hypothesis, methodology, data, tools, model, referencing. On all those parts, the evaluator will give his or her comments. Okay, he will also comment on the originality of thesis, language of thesis, organization of thesis. This thesis is well organized or not. The language of this thesis is okay or not. The topic, the relevancy, all those things they will do. The number of pages. They will also discuss about the number of pages. This thesis is very big. Reduce the number of pages. He or she can write, reduce the number of pages. Very big. This thesis is very less page. This thesis has very less page. They can do this. Layout and place of topic and subtopic according to significance is yes or no. This is also very important. On the basis of all those things, the evaluator, the is accepted with major modification. Not in the case of India. In the case of India, I have seen that accepted or rejected. But in the foreign, accepted with major modification, accepted with minor modification, accepted with honor like this, and then rejected also. So if it is accepted, it is okay. You will come for the Viva. Okay. And if it is rejected, the report will come. The university will send this report to you, and with the help of your guide, with the supervision of your guide, you will do the correction according to the comments. Okay, then work according to examiner's comments or interest, and after that you do the final summation, and then you do the revised, you do the submission of the revised thesis, and after that you will get the award. So in the case of other countries, we have seen that the thesis has gone to the examiners. They have given their report. They have written the major modification, major modification, but interview is going on. Okay, so in the interview time, they have to revise this and again bring the thesis. Interview also, the interview is going on, but in the interview he is also saying that this comment, this comment, this comment. The student has got pass, also got pass, sometimes fail, also got pass, but it gives the comment, and according to the comments of examiner, the candidate will do the revision under the guidance of the supervisor, and it will be submitted, and that is okay. And after the submission of thesis, you will get the award of PhD degree. There should come the notification after 5 days, 4 days, 10 days, but result is announced same day in the foreign. In the foreign, result is announced same day. In the Viva, result is announced. In the case of India, the result is announced in the notification after 5 days, 1 week, or 10 days. Okay, so you can take the notification. So now I completed. Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay.
Thank
Hello,
you,
ma'am.
sir.
so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for this
Thank you, sir.
lovely session. Wonderful session it was. It was a learning session to all of us, to all the participants. They are very much enriched with your session. So there is a request from most of the participants, sir. If you agree, they wanted your PDF file. Sir, if you could kindly send it to me or the organizing team,
Okay.
then they will be very much benefited, sir. Because
Okay.
all here, most of our researchers and PhD guides and teachers also, they are in the learning process. So, sir, if you could kindly share this file with me or with the organizing team, we will be very much thankful, because as I know very well that you share knowledge. So knowledge is actually sharing. So actually, if it is given to us, I will be sharing to each one of them through a Google Drive.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. I will.
Please, it would be very much helpful to all of the research scholars all over the world, because you know, due to your help, guidance and assistance, we have been able to get more than 250 or more than 200 participants. So it would be very nice of you. So, sir, thank you so much for this enriching and wonderful session. There has been some questions, sir. So I will be taking 2 or 3 which are absolutely necessary. So there is a question from Biplab Shingho. He has asked that, is it absolutely necessary to include statistical analysis for qualitative or descriptive research?
Statistical analysis is not necessary. Not necessary in the qualitative research. I have already told that there are 2 types of thesis: research, philosophical thesis, and statistical research. So in the case of empirical research, the data is important. When you use the data, you give the statistical hypothesis. But when we do not use the data, we give the research hypothesis, and research hypothesis is not validated with the data. Okay, and sometimes you can also not give the hypothesis, but some universities have given the rule that you have to write the hypothesis. Okay, so hypothesis is the tentative answer of research question. Hypothesis is the tentative answer of research questions. So if you are not able to work with the data, you are not able to work with the empirical study, or your research topic is not suitable. Sometimes your research topic is not suitable for the empirical study. Then you can give the research hypothesis. That is no need to validate the research hypothesis. Okay. So in the philosophical research, a statistical hypothesis is not given. Research hypothesis is given. You should give the research hypothesis in this case, because hypothesis increases the beauty of your thesis. Okay, so that is the important.
Okay, and And another research scholar has asked that what should be the pages in the result? How many pages will be there, sir? Approximately.
In the
Result
results. In the
yes.
okay. Results pages should be given about 50 to 55 pages. 50 to 60 pages. That is enough. A optimum thesis should be of for PhD 150 to 200 pages. Optimum. But in some university we have seen 400 page, 300 page, 500 page also. This is not good. The quality of thesis is not good. A quality thesis should be 150 to 200 page. So I have told that introduction should be 30 page, about 30. 30 means 25 to 35, like this. Approx 30. Introduction approx 30. Literature review 50. Okay. 30, 50, 80. And methodology 5 to 8. Okay. 5 to 8. That is 88. Okay. And then results and discussion about the 50 to 55 pages. Okay. Then that becomes 130, and your results and discussion should be about 15 pages. So total will be 150 page. And after 150 page, your main thesis is 150 page. And after 150 page, you can give the bibliography 8 to 10 page. Bibliography means references 8 to 10 page, appendices 8 to 10 page, abstract your also, your starting page also. Okay, so total will be 200 page. Automatically 180, 90, 200 page. So your main parts of thesis should be 150 page.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And I will take the last relevant question from Neha Khan. She has asked you which data analysis tools is very suitable for mixed methodology.
Oh, mixed methodology. For the mixed methodology means mixed research methods, means quantitative data and qualitative data. Okay, you are using the qualitative data and quantitative data both. This is the clear. By the primary sources or by the secondary sources, any sources, you are using the primary data, you are using the quantitative data and qualitative data. So in the case of qualitative data, you have to do the parametric test. In the case of qualitative data, sorry. In the case of qualitative data, you have to use the non-parametric test. And in the case of quantitative data, you should have to use the parametric test. Okay, so these are so many tests. You can download a book. The name of this book is 100 statistical tests. 100 statistical tests. You can download this book from internet. Okay, and it has been given in which situation this test will be applied in which situation. The objective of the test, the methodology of the test, very brief book. This book is about 200 page maximum, and all test is given. So in this, so suppose that according to the objective of a study, you should apply the quantitative technique or qualitative techniques. Okay, here mean, median, and mode. Mean is the quantitative technique. Mean is the quantitative technique, and median and mode are the qualitative technique. Median and mode are the qualitative technique, qualitative tools. Mean is quantitative tools. So you have to know, understand this. You can study this from the book details, but we have to confine that both the tools you are using. You are using the quantitative data, you are using the qualitative data from the any sources, means using the both means you are using the mixed data, quantitative and qualitative, and therefore it is required to use the some quantitative tools and some qualitative tools for the analysis of data, some parametric and some non-parametric test for the validation and for the testing of hypothesis. While in the case of the regression also, multiple regression. Multiple regression that is used in the case of quantitative data. Simple multiple regression used in the case of quantitative data, while in the logistic regression is used in the case of qualitative. The dependent variable is qualitative. You can apply the logistic regression. And if dependent and independent are both quantitative, you can use the simple regression, multiple regression, linear multiple regression. So in the case of qualitative data, you can apply the logistic regression if the dependent variable is divided in two parts, like yes, no, no. That is the binary logistic regression. And if it is more than two, that we can apply the multinomial logistic regression. We can also apply the probit logic like this. So all those things are important. So quantitative and qualitative tools are not complementary to each other. Quantitative and qualitative techniques are not competitive to each other. They are complementary to each other. So as per the situation, as per the objective of study, you can use quantitative tools, either quantitative tools or qualitative tools, or you can apply both.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the nice explanation. And thank you, sir, for your valuable presentation. Really, we have accumulated many new research methods, research ideas in this context. So I would like to give a warm thanks to you, sir, because you speak from your heart. This research methodology, how to prepare a dissertation, which has been a lot of help to all the participants who are present here, especially the research scholars. And as you know, that 21st century demands innovation, demands research. And so all the teachers as well as the research scholars who are in pursuit of research have to cope up with the new challenges, new ideas, new research problems of research as well as teaching, and to provide also the new ways of learning. We teachers should come first and foremost as teachers as well as researchers, so that we can guide them in the long run. And thank you so much once again. And we have actually reached to the end of this session. So we will be wrapping up now. And of course, as told that it was a very enriching and valuable discussion. I hope that the next generation research scholars have accumulated a lot of information from today's presentation. I won't be telling lecture because it would sound very downgrading. It was a lovely and a nice and knowledgeable presentation. So, sir, heartiest thanks from my side, from the organizing team, as well as from the whole of us from Adamas University. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm very happy to deliver my lecture here, and I am happy to know that the Adamas University is doing great works in the field of research and academics, and the work is very visible and continuously organizing the national and international conferences, workshops, seminars. So that is beneficial for the researchers and for the faculty member also, for all the section of society. So I again and again thanks to all the member of Adamas University for organizing such type of very important conferences, workshop and seminar on very pertinent topics. This is a great job, and we feel proud of this Adamas University and its functioning. It is known for the quality education not only in India but also in the other countries of world. So I thanks again to the Adamas University, Pratibha ma'am, and all the members and the staff of the school. Thank you, ma'am. And I thanks all the participants from the India and abroad listening my lecture patiently. So thanks
yes, sir,
all of you.
can see the participant that more than 200 participation is there even on a Tuesday. So you can well imagine the response and how the participants have actually participated in a very sincere manner, and your session also. And sir, I would again request you to kindly provide me the PDF after some time, your presentation, so that I will be able to share with them in the next session. So as we are on the end of the session, I again thank sir, thank everyone, and sir, with your help, support and guidance, and of course Adamas University's banner is also there, we will be able to organize such type of workshops, webinars and seminars in the future also. Okay, so as you are the honorary secretary of Forum for Interdisciplinary Research Methods, we will be planning with collaboration and with great pursuit of knowledge. We will be doing that in the long run also. So we need your assistance and help also in this matter.
Thank you, ma'am.
So with that, we will be ending this session. We will be meeting at 2:30 p.m. sharp. And as told to you repeatedly, written to you repeatedly, the feedback link will be shared at 3:30 p.m. sharp, and that is in the Zoom chat box. Please don't request me to send through mails or through other communication modes, because it is not possible for me. I will be also sharing the presentations of all the speakers who are interested, who have been kind enough and who have actually shared their presentations. I have also spoken to Professor Dr. Monod sir. He will also be sharing, and I will be sharing with you as well, because knowledge is for sharing, and we will be doing the needful. So with that, we will be meeting at 2:30 p.m. sharp at the valedictory session. There we will be having our honorable Pro Vice Chancellors along with the Dean Research and Development. They will be having their views and their knowledge they will be sharing. So it would be a fruitful session also. And I am repeating again that at 3:30 p.m. we will be sharing the feedback link. Please don't ask continuously over the chat. Please be attentive, because this is a research methodology workshop. So one should be attentive when someone is writing. Okay. So from myself, Dr. Praptita Viswas, head of the department and associate professor, School of Education, as well as the center coordinator for the Center for Education, Research and Development, I wish you a good afternoon for now. And of course, we will be meeting at 2:30 p.m. During the valedictory session. So thank you all. Thank you all the participants, all the dignitaries, all the respected teachers, as well as my loved researchers for participating and joining. And thank you all. Thanks to all of you. We will be meeting at 2:30 p.m. sharp. Please log in 10 minutes prior, then it would be better. Okay. So thanks once again. Thank you. With many regards, I am signing off for now. Thank you.
Recording.